weekly show with David J. Maloney. This week, David talks to actor and director Philip Barantini. And now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome to everyone at home, and I would normally say our studio audience to the weekly show. I am your host, David J. Maloney. I said normally because we'd usually shoot the show before a small studio audience at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, but we are still shooting from home due to coronavirus concerns. We do hope to gain clearance to get back to our live-to-tape shows real soon. So, according to a new study, 36% of U.S. jobs could be taken by robots within 10 years. Research predict that by that time, some robots will be smart enough to quit work and manipulate unemployment. And it's been reported that Switzerland, where assisted suicide is legal, is the destination of choice for people wanting to end their lives. That's for those who can afford it. Less affluent people have to settle for walking tours of Chicago. An Indiana woman, who was the first woman sentenced for the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, received just 3 years of probation. U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth credited Anna Morgan Lloyd with time served living in Indiana. Let's see, a new survey cites that millennials even view themselves as self-absorbed. When asked how they view others, respondents replied, "Who?" Oh, and did you hear this? In Michigan, a psychic and holistic outdoor festival was postponed at the last second due to weather. Really? So none of them saw that coming? Speaking of psychics, I have a heavy-set aunt who is psychic. That makes her an extra-large medium. During our hiatus, I had to see my doctor, and he suggested that I send him a photo of my stools for the next month or so, which I thought was a little odd, because he's a podiatrist. Lastly, a belated happy birthday to rapper Ludacris. It's reported he celebrated with his brothers. Preposterous and ridiculous. On tonight's show, we've got an up-and-coming director who really isn't up-and-coming at all. We've already been watching him on the big screen for close to 20 years now, as an actor in such shows as Band of Brothers, Dream Team, and most recently Chernobyl. He's made the transition into directing, and his second feature film, Boiling Point, is lighting up the festival circuit, and it's garnering rave reviews. Here to chat with us about it is actor and director Philip Barantini, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Our featured guest tonight has been in some of the most beloved and awarded shows over the past 20 years, from Band of Brothers to Chernobyl, and now he's transitioned to the director's chair with his first feature film, Villain, and his sophomore effort, Boiling Point, firmly cementing him as a director to watch for the near future. Here to chat about Boiling Point and his film journey, please give a warm weekly show welcome to Philip Barantini. Philip, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. That was a lovely introduction.
Well, you've had a wonderful career in all respects to this point, and we're definitely going to talk about it, but I kind of like getting to know my guests a little bit first. The first time I heard your accent, I guessed Liverpool, and it turns out you're from there, yes?
That's right, yeah. I lived in Liverpool. I was born in Liverpool. I lived in Liverpool up until the age of 17, sorry. And then I moved to London to pursue a career in acting, and luckily for me, I haven't lost my accent. So,
what was your home life like there?
In Liverpool?
Yeah,
fantastic. Loved Liverpool. It's such a fantastic city. Normal home life. Both parents were not in the industry at all. My father was he's got his own couple of businesses. He's a property developer. My mum, who sadly passed away a few years ago, she was a florist. She had her own shop for a while, and then she realized that she was allergic to flowers. So she shut the shop up and then just started working in on call centers, and she just had a fantastic outlook on life. And so none of my family were in the industry.
How did you get in the industry?
Well, when I was about 13 actually, I went to basically there's a an ongoing soap opera in the UK called Coronation Street, and it's been going since the 1950s or 60s, I believe. And where the studio is in Manchester, Manchester's quite close to Liverpool. Where the studio used to be, it's moved now. There was you could go on a tour around the set of the sort of the streets and things like that. And it was like, it's called the Granada Studios tour, and I went there when I was 13 with my cousin, and my nan took me, and I literally, from that moment, I was like, whoa, this is cool. I want to be in this industry somehow, you know. And then I had a friend of mine who was she used to go on these, she used to do these cabaret shows around Liverpool with her family, and they put on shows in like local pubs and bars and things like that. And then they were putting on this this operetta, Trial by Jury by Gilbert and Sullivan, and they sort of asked me, you know, would you be interested in sort of getting involved and being in it, kind of thing. And I was just like, yeah, cool, why not, you know. And I just sort of fell in love with it, and an agent, a local agency, came to watch it, and they came backstage afterwards and pulled a couple of us aside and sort of said, you know, would you be interested in signing up to the agency? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm like, at this point I'm 15, and so I signed up, and then she got me a couple of auditions and in local things, and then I got an audition for a TV series when I was just turned 17, and there was this TV series called Dream Team, which is a soccer, call it soccer, I call it football, a soccer drama which was on TV, and I loved it. I'd seen the first series of this show and really loved it, and I auditioned for it. I had 5 auditions for it, and ended up getting a part in it, and that moved me down to London.
So was there a moment you remember from your early days of acting where you thought, you know what, I could do this as a career and it's going to work?
Yeah, to be honest, I never went into it with any doubts, really, because with I've got my mindset, and looking back actually on everything I've ever done in my life, my mindset is like, I get tunnel vision and I'm like, right, this is the goal I want. I'm going to get there no matter what.
Yeah, so it seems like within maybe 5 years or so of starting your career, you're acting alongside of some of the bigger names like Orlando Bloom, Heath Ledger, Jeffrey Rush, and so many others. What stories do you remember from most of your days on those sets?
Band of Brothers was the second biggest, basically the second job I did. You know, straight off the back of Dream Team, I went on and did Band of Brothers, and we shot that for the best part of 12 months. And me and the guys, we're still so close. Like it's quite rare that you come off a job and you stay so close to people. But we meet up once a year if we can, and we're on a WhatsApp group, so we're constantly just giving each other crap, and things like that. Again, like on Ned Kelly, that was just like an absolute dream job for me. I had to learn how. Basically, when I got asked to audition, they said, "Can you horse ride?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. Never been on a horse in my life. No.
That's the way it goes all the time."
I got the job after 4 or 5 auditions, and then I remember the producer saying to me, "So, how well can you horse ride?" I was like, "Oh, no." They were like, "We know you can't horse ride." I was like, "Yeah, I can't really horse ride." It's like, "It's cool. We're gonna teach you anyway." So then I went on and did this like intensive horse riding course. Went over to Ireland for a few weeks to stayed with an actor called Lawrence Kinlan, who played one of the characters in Ned Kelly. And we just became, because we were supposed to play really close friends in that movie. And we became really close friends because we just basically lived with each other for the whole time. So we learned to horse ride together in Ireland. And then we went to Australia for I think it was 3 or 4 months. And probably like 3 or 4 weeks of that was just horse riding, like literally every day horse riding. So by the end of it, I was, now I can put on my CV, yes, I can horse ride, if anyone ever asks. But but yeah, so things like that, things that you get to do, as an actor, in this industry, that you wouldn't necessarily get to do, in reality. It's like learning to horse ride, just all the crazy things, shooting weapons, and learning how to fence, or sword fight, whatever it may be.
Yeah, learn archery.
Yeah, like like crazy things. Crazy.
Yeah,
things.
you're never going to need to learn archery being a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah,
well, maybe,
maybe, yeah. But yeah, so it's every job has its highs and its lows, but it's just the best industry. I'm so privileged to call this a job now, and I feel incredibly lucky every day, because it's not always been easy. Like I haven't always just walked into job to job. I did at the beginning of my career, and I got a little bit complacent, and I thought I was better than what I was, and I was just wasn't putting the effort in and the work, because I thought I could go into the audition and just nail it and I'd be getting the job, because that's what's happened in the past. That was a big wake up call. Yeah.
So you've been on two of the most highly rated shows I can think of, Band of Brothers and Chernobyl. How did you prepare for your roles in period pieces like those shows?
Well, Band of Brothers was it was a tough one. I'm not going to lie. It was tough because, me personally, I know that most of the guys went through a boot camp for 10 days with Captain Dale Dye, who's a machine. He's an animal. I mean, he's a lovely guy now. We all get on really well with him. But at the time, it was like, oh my God, this guy's killing us, because he's a veteran, and he is a captain, and that's what he is. So he treated us all like soldiers, and that's that's what made the show so realistic. I believe. So for me personally, I was doing Dream Team, and I had my last day on Dream Team, and the following day we started shooting on Band of Brothers. So I missed the 10-day boot camp.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I mean, which looking back is kind of like, I'm kind of glad in a way, because it was hell. No sleep for 10 days, all that kind of stuff. So I just breezed in as this actor, and I was like, hey guys, how you doing? Nice to, and everyone was just like, who the hell is this guy? And but after a while we all became super, super close. But we were told to sort of to almost be in character every day on set. When we're on set, we have to be in character. So, usually you'd have, each actor would have their own trailer where they could, hang out and just chill. There was trailers, but we weren't allowed in them for the first maybe month. We used to have to get dressed in a tent, a big tent. We all got dressed in this big tent, and then we were told to line up, and we had to march to set in formation. I mean, the set was like, maybe half a mile on this sort of private. It was an old called the British Aerospace, where they used to build airplanes basically, and it was sort of derelict. So they built all the sets on there. So we used to have to march the set and then march back, and then Chernobyl was very similar. That was more researching, reading some books and watching some TV things, and trying to do as much of that as possible. The production actually provided us with it was a private website where they basically gave me the link to this website, and on that website was just my character's stuff. So everybody had their own personal link.
Philip, we got to go to a quick commercial break, pay the bills. Can you stick around till after the break?
Absolutely, I'd love to, yeah.
You gotta concentrate. Take breaths. Take breaths.
This is your fault. You don't turn up on time. You don't do the orders. You come in sneaking a booth.
After paying your dues acting, you've transitioned to directing. And your new film, Boiling Point, ties directly into some of your own life experiences working as a chef. How did you find yourself in the restaurant world to begin with?
my acting career was doing incredibly well, and I was, I got a bit complacent because I thought I've made it now.
Yep.
But that's not the case. That wasn't the case. So, I went into, my grandfather was a chef. My cousin is a chef. And I love food. Like it's always been a passion thing for me, because watching my granddad growing up and seeing him cook these amazing meals and was just like, I just was really subconsciously, I think I was really passionate about, good food. And so instead of most actors, they go and work as a waiter or working in the hospitality industry in some respect, as a bar man or woman or whatever. But I wanted to do something more creative, and food was a passion. So I started working in kitchens, and I worked my way up. Again, my personality, having that addictive personality, as soon as I got into the kitchens, and my acting career was sort of, not fizzling out, but it was sort of, just dwindling away. It was, I was becoming really passionate about food in the kitchens, and so I thought, right, I want to be a head chef. I want to make it to the top, because this is amazing. And so I put everything into it, and I would turn down auditions because I was working, and I was working in restaurants, and I couldn't get out of work because, if you work as a waiter, or behind a bar, you can generally get out of work to go for an
You
audition.
can swap out with somebody.
Yeah. But when you're in the kitchen, and especially I worked my way up to a head chef, and I was, even as a sous chef, which is the second in command, I can't just leave because I've got a team of people that I need to lead, and I have to write the menus and I have to do all this. So I couldn't just leave. So, I get auditions through, and I'd just be like, I can't make this. And that would piss my agents off, and that would really upset everyone. So probably for about the last 10 years, I'd say, I'd always thought to myself, I would love to direct something. However, no one's gonna, like, I'm just some kid from a small town in Liverpool. Like, directors to me are like, they're educated, and they've been to film school and all this kind of stuff. And I just sort of put it to the side and thought, I'll never be able to do that, but I'd love to do it. And I was always interested in everybody's job on set. Subconsciously, I was like, when I was acting and I was working as a on shows and films or whatever, I'd always be the guy who wanted to stay after my scene was done or whatever. I'd be like, can I just hang out and just be here? Like, I just want to be part of it, and I was always watching like what the lighting team were doing or the camera team. I'd always ask questions, probably being really annoying to people, but at the time I was so, and it goes back to that first trip to the Granada studios, when I saw how it all worked, and I was just like, whoa, this is so cool. Magic. It's magic. So then, I'd sort of put my acting career not on hold, but I wasn't really getting the jobs, like I said, and I was working in the kitchens, and then I decided to stop drinking, and to go sober. So I went to see a counselor, and his name's Chip Summers. He's the most incredible guy. He helped me massively, and sort of my whole, because when you're working in kitchens or in that industry, it seems like everybody is, you work so hard, and then at the end of the shift, you've seen everybody else, all the customers having fun, and and then you're like, okay, now it's my turn. I deserve a drink now, because I've just literally worked so hard for the last 10, 11 hours, whatever, more sometimes. And that is a vicious cycle, because then you start, someone will say to you, like my head chefs or whatever, be like, should we have a quick drink to perk us up? Come on, let's have a drink, boom, 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 while we're working. And that leads on to other things.
Well, and it's one of those jobs where, depending upon the restaurant you work for, it may be completely permitted. And when you think of jobs that are high octane and pressure filled, people who aren't in the restaurant industry really wouldn't think cooking or working in a restaurant would be one of them on the face of it. But we all kind of in the background know that it is, or that it must be. Why do you think that is?
When you're on the pass, or you're in the middle of service, it all relies on you as the head chef or the whole team, but you've got literally so much going on at once that your brain is just like completely, you've just got to be zoned in. And so I think to escape that sort of pressure and the high intensity of it at the end of a shift, people drink, right? People just, let's escape this, or they go out, or they take drugs, or whatever. But not saying that everybody does this, but like there is a high percentage of chefs that do take drugs on shift and drink while they're on shift, because that's their way of handling the pressure.
So you work your way up into, I think, being a head chef at multiple restaurants through the years. Do you think that working in the kitchen helped you? And this is an interesting parallel. I'm wondering if there's a parallel. Being a head chef, are there parallels between that and directing?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's funny because I didn't realize that until being on Villain, my first feature. And it was, for me, coming up the ranks as a chef, I witnessed, some horrible chefs who would throw things at their staff and, to get their attention. And it was like a military, operation. It was just, and it wasn't a nice place to work. And so I sort of looked upon that and thought, if I ever get to that level, I will never speak to my staff like that, because the feeling that I was getting when I was being shouted at was like, I'm not going to do it. I'll do what you say, but I'm very reluctant to do it, and I won't do any favors for you or whatever. So when I became a head chef, I had the attitude of like, this is a team, we are collaborating together. And I made sure that all my team had their own, even if it's a lower ranking chef, someone who's just an apprentice or whatever, I would make sure that they would have something that they have developed or come up with themselves. You know what I mean? I give them an opportunity to go, okay, what are your ideas? Show me what you've got, and maybe we can put that on the menu. Or or the pastry chef, I'd let them do their thing. I wouldn't control what they, but ultimately, I'm at the top of the chain and I have to oversee everything.
That's our show for tonight. A special thanks to Philip Barantini for joining us. And again, thank you for watching. Stay safe, everyone.
The Weekly Show returns next week with part 2 of David's interview with Philip Barantini.